Alrighty, guys, so welcome back to Problem Solver Politics. You may have noticed today is just me. Carton is on vacation, but we had some very, very big, important news that came out today. So we definitely wanted to come in and give you guys something new. So without further ado, I'm not going to fluff it up too much. Andrew Yang did it. Or he didn't do it, we did it. He reached his fourth qualifying poll for the second time for people who've been following in this cycle. However, he will be in the fall debates in Houston now. Couple cool things come from this. Again, first of all, just the fact, I know a lot of people, I guess for people who are new to this or are just kind of joining, Andrew Yang originally, I want to close the article. Anyway, Andrew Yang about, 2-3 weeks ago originally had hit the mark for 4 qualifying polls, which is 2% or more, and polls in either early polling states or from major polling, what they consider major polling players, mainly major news networks and some universities. For example, this latest poll he qualified in was a Monmouth University poll. So, various different organizations. Anyway, he had hit 4. However, a ruling came from the DNC, ruling that he had 2 polls from NBC, even though there were 2 different ventures. One, I believe, was with Wall Street Journal, and one was with another polling service. They revoked it, so he went down to only having 3 qualifying polls. However, this poll just dropped this morning out of Iowa, which is also interesting. We actually did a video talking about Yang's numbers in Iowa, kind of not moving the way you'd expect him to. Anyway, he did it. He hit 2%. Now, without getting too far ahead of ourselves, what this really actually means, because it's really cool. He's going to be at the debate. Now, the DNC, how you doing, Mr. Anderson Cooper? Cool. The DNC actually kind of amended their rules a little bit on this one. The Democratic presidential candidates at risk of missing the September debate will have a longer window to qualify for the one in October. In an email reviewed by CNN that was sent to a presidential campaign by the Democratic National Committee, the campaign was informed that qualifying polls for the October debate must have been released between June 28th and 2 weeks prior to the debate. That polling window means that candidates who qualified for the September debate will automatically qualify for the October contests, and it gives candidates who did not qualify in September additional time to make the next debate stage. This has a lot of ramifications for probably multiple candidates. The focus of today's video is Andrew Yang. So, Andrew Yang did not just make it to the 3rd debate today, he made it to the 4th debate. So, I wanted to point that out to guys. I know a lot of people will be asking, okay, is this just for the 3rd? No, DNC ruling came out. I believe this was published, updated yesterday, published in the last few days. DNC just came out and said, look, guys, if you qualify for September, you basically qualify for October. It's one large qualification period. Whenever you qualify, you're entitled to whatever debate is still upcoming. So, Andrew Yang will be in the 3rd debate. Andrew Yang will be at the 4th debate. Really just shout outs to all the work the Yang Gang has been doing. Here is now the updated list of who exactly will be appearing at the 3rd, and as we've learned now, the 4th debate as well. No surprises at the very top of Joe Biden. The fact that Booker, because I'll pull it up in a minute for you guys. If you look at the actual polling numbers on Cory Booker, overall, he's not exactly trending where you think someone with his name recognition would be. I'm sure a lot of you guys hear his name all the time. He's not exactly trending up that high. He's kind of down in that bracket between Pete Buttigieg and Andrew Yang. So moving down the list, speaking of, we have South Bend Mayor, or former South Bend Mayor, Pete Buttigieg. Kamala Harris, no surprise. Amy Klobuchar, that's a surprise. Amy Klobuchar. You just don't hear about her a ton, right? So the fact that she was able to hit those polls pretty early on, I guess. I think it's updated today, but still, she's had for a while. Interesting. Beto O'Rourke, who's actually slipped in the Monmouth poll, which is kind of interesting. We can get back to that in a minute. Elizabeth Warren, no surprise. Bernie Sanders, no surprise. Andrew Yang, who has definitely been surprising people every step of the way. For those of you familiar with his merch, he is definitely the longer than long shot candidate. So that is very, very cool. So this is a couple things I want to take away from this, because the big news, guys, obviously, is there had been a lot of confusion, a lot of doubt. Is Andrew Yang going to make it to these debates after, I'm actually going to pull this article up first right now, after the DNC revoked that poll, which, I don't even know if revoked the poll is the best way to phrase it, but basically they made a ruling that said that indeed the NBC poll counts as 2 NBC polls. So Andrew Yang after, and this was a thing that was kind of a little bit, I don't know the word for it, man, but here's the article I'm pulling up from Heavy.com. Andrew Yang at DNC at odds over qualifying poll. Yang still needs one more. Again, guys, for those of you just kind of watching right now, this has been, he hit the poll he needed today. Just a little bit of recap for anyone wondering why it is kind of such interesting news he did at that poll today is because on the 29th of July, Andrew Yang tweeted this out and as a campaign announced that we had qualified for this debate. We were going to be at the 3rd debate. And we learned now the 3rd and 4th debate. And it was, I don't know, maybe 24 hours, a little bit less. The DNC came out, Democratic National Committee, and said, actually, these two NBC polls, even though they were done with different organizations, SurveyMonkey and Wall Street Journal, those count as the same poll. That's where we were up until this morning, where this morning, guys, as I've already said, Andrew Yang surpasses Beto in Iowa and qualifies for fall debates. Now, one thing I wanted to highlight in, I believe, this article is, here we go. Qualifications for the September debate. I'm going to move that up for you guys. Qualifications for the September debate closes on August 28th. Other candidates who are in the mix for qualifying include Julian Castro and Rep. Tulsi Gabbard. Both Castro and Gabbard fit donor mark, while Castro needs one more poll and Gabbard needs 3. Sorry. What I wanted to point out to you guys, so I guess just up in the fold a little bit. Here we go. Tom Steyer, hitting 3% in this poll, is now hit his 3rd qualifying poll for the fall debate, guys. That's something I want to point out here. That's kind of the sub-story here to me. Tom Steyer, I believe, announced his candidacy officially. He'd been saying, I'm going to run for about a year. He officially announced his candidacy after the first debate, so the last 40 days? And he hit 3 qualifying polls like that. I don't know if he's tech, but the billionaire who's ran on defeating Donald Trump he was the one, I don't know if you guys remember, had a very famous ad campaign for getting rid of Donald Trump out of office. So obviously people have been aware with him in this field, but he already hit 3 polls, including polling at 3% ahead of Yang in this poll. Don't even want to get into it. It's weird stuff. That stood out to me as very interesting. Also, Kristen Gillibrand hit her first qualifying poll. So the odds that we'll see her in a few weeks here are pretty low. So, I mean, again, guys, that was just the big news of the morning. I really wanted to make sure we got in here and talked about Andrew Yang. We believe this time, I don't know what ruling could come down from the DNC that would overrule this today. We believe for now, guys, for anyone who was wondering and who was questioning, is Andrew Yang going to be at the 3rd debate? Seems like we can now confirm Andrew Yang will be at the 3rd and 4th debate after a somewhat recent change in the rules from the DNC, where they said, look, it's basically one large period. Whenever you qualify in this period, you're entitled to the next debate. So if you qualify after the September debate, you're qualified for October. If you qualify now, you'll be at both debates. Which is a little interesting for people like myself, actually, even who, despite wanting to see a larger field so Andrew Yang could get in there, I have to admit, I've been pretty critical of the fact that it seems like the DNC is totally fine with doing what the RNC did 4 years ago and having 12 people on the debate stage 3 months into the process. It seems like we're going to get there again. I hope we don't have any more 2-night, 20-person bonanzas. But as of today, it looks like Tom Steyer, if he hit 3% on this poll, guys, Tom Steyer's probably going to be at this debates. But at the end of not the end of the day, as I'm recording this, it's in the morning. But as of where we stand right now, guys, here are the candidates who will be on stage once more. We got Joe Biden, Cory Booker, Pete Buttigieg, Kamala Harris, Amy Klobuchar, Beto O'Rourke, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and now, as of just about 2 hours ago, Andrew Yang. So again, that's the big headline of today. The other thing I wanted to do is I wanted to take up we do this a lot. We go over the Real Clear Politics kind of aggregates. And I just wanted to look at the polls and see where we are exactly today after that. Because, actually, they have not officially added that newest Monmouth poll to this, so we can look and see where Yang was before that poll dropped. But here's the fascinating thing, and I brought this up in our stream last night, is the margin of error in these polls is between 3 and 5%. And we can look in. Andrew Yang hitting 2% on this most recent poll, I mean, it might nudge him a little bit, but it's basically going to be his polling average. Here's Andrew Yang right here. I mean, his polling average, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 0, 2, 1, 2, 2. Like, that is where he polls in general. So I do think in a way, I don't want to say highlights the absurdity, but like you can kind of say like, so what this is just another one of the polls that he generally gets between 1 and 2% on. And then this one just counts. So now he's in the debates. And if for whatever reason this was a 1%, which by the way could be single-digit voters based on sample size of these polls, I mean, I'll actually pull that poll sample size up for you guys so you can get an idea of exactly how many people were polled in it. But, for the most part, they don't poll that many people in these. Let me see if I can. 681 voters, guys. 681 voters. That's it. So what's the difference between 1% and 2% when you're polling 600 people, right? You know what I mean? We're not talking about something crazy here. So it is weird to me that we have so much of the campaign's debate cycle, which is a really important part of of political campaigns. I mean, someone actually asked on a live stream the other night. They said, if Yang doesn't make this next debate, does he lose the election? I mean, well, you obviously don't lose the election until, you're officially out. But and here's the actual numbers. I mean, you'll see Andrew Yang moved up from 1% to 2% from August to April. A lot's happened between August and April. So very, very cool for Andrew Yang. But I mean, theoretically speaking, man, you can not show up to one debate and never drop out of the race. So it's just crazy how important the debates are, because people won't even know you're in the race if you're not debating for the most part. We're talking about 7 people saying, you know what, I think this time I'll vote Yang instead of someone else, is the difference between being on the debate stage and being off. So this is, kind of one of those, what's the word for it? Like like people can make a difference. Again, guys, this poll, which recently came out, which is moving Andrew Yang to the 3rd and 4th debate. So big one, right? Here we go. Sorry, guys. Some little research on the fly. 681 voters, man. 681 voters. That's it. How many people do you have to move? This was the question we had too. Andrew Yang recently was on the H3H3 podcast, and I guess a former staffer, if I'm wrong, please tell me in the comments. The way I understand the story, former staffer for Andrew Yang had scheduled Andrew Yang to make an appearance in Iowa. That staffer then left the campaign without relaying the information. Andrew Yang his campaign scheduled the H3H3 podcast he had yesterday on that day. And he ended up saying, hey, look, the podcast is, if I blow off this guy, it's probably going to get out in the media more. I'm assuming that was the rationale. I mean, I can pull up the most up-to-date numbers, but if I remember right, like that, the podcast that's going to get millions of views, I don't think you necessarily want to miss, right? However, people were saying, like, how many people are actually going to be in that room in Iowa when he shows up? How many people, by the way, the Andrew Yang podcast on the Andrew Yang H3H3 podcast has moved up to a number 6 on trending with almost 500,000 views. So I'm not going to say it was a bad idea, but people were saying, they're saying, seriously, man, even if he goes to Iowa, how many people are in that room? How many people can he really change the mind? How many voters can he get by going to Iowa once? Well, you know what, man? When it comes to polls, he might only need 7 people who didn't poll for him last time to poll for him next time. And that's the difference in a lot of these polls, man, between missing the debate and being on the stage for the next 2 months. We're talking a dozen people or so. So in these early polling state, guys, a dozen people in Iowa supporting Donald Trump is not equal to a dozen people in California, for example, supporting Donald Trump, Andrew Yang. You know what I mean? Like a dozen people in Iowa saying, I'm going to vote for Yang in these early polls, or I'm going to, select his name in these early polls. It really moves the needle, because you have to have 130,000 unique donors, right? You might only need 97 people in Iowa to say they've heard of you and would support you to make it to the debate. So it is a weird system. We've talked in the past, and we can in the future talk more about it. But that's the news today, guys. I know a lot of you guys that have been on the Yang Gang following it. Maybe people who have been following the Andrew Yang campaign as much and are just kind of curious, who is this guy? I'm not sure, but for a lot of people, after he had that debate taken from him, that poll taken from him about a little over a week and a half ago now, a lot of people were concerned. They're saying, is Andrew Yang going to make it? Oh my God, what's going to happen? Was this that bad? When are more qualifying polls? Finally, you guys can stop asking, and I'm saying it's a good thing, me, myself included. We can stop saying, when's the next qualifying poll? Because I have to admit, I was getting to the point where I'm like, okay, take away one of his qualifying polls, and then they don't release more than 1 or 2 for the next month. That would look a little suspicious. Seems like Monmouth came out and just, rectified that and put out the, hopefully we can put this stuff to right, like I said, to bed for a while, guys. We don't have to worry about for quite some while now anything about Andrew Yang and debates and polls and all that stuff, guys. It seems like Andrew Yang is actually just going to be at these debates for the next 2 months. Once again, just for the last time, DNC Rules for October debates gives DNC Rules for October debates. Sorry, guys, gives struggling candidates longer window to qualify. The polling window means that candidates who qualified for the September debate, including Andrew Yang, will automatically qualify for the October contest, and it gives candidates who did not qualify in September additional time to make the debate stage. It seems like right now those candidates that have additional time are really Tom Steyer. I think Tulsi Gabbard's got a shot. Gillibrand's on the outside. The next closest one is Castro. I believe Castro requires 1 more poll. He's hit the donor mark. So for him, that's really that's nice. For Tom Steyer, like I said, guys, billionaire Tom Steyer is going to be at this debate anyway, whether anyone wants him there or not. I guess in Iowa, people like him. I don't know. He pulled 3% immediately, so he's going to be on that stage. Whatever you guys think of him. To be frank, I think it's kind of a joke, but whatever. He's going to be there. That's the rules. But that, again, guys, that was the big news of today. Wanted to break in. Like I said, we can finally stop asking ourselves, when's the next poll come out? what are the polling rules? Is this fair? Why are they doing this? Monmouth University, poll in Iowa, 2%. Also very interesting to point out. That's the one last thing we'll go through before we wrap up, guys, is let's take a look at what Andrew Yang has been doing in Iowa up until now. Because we looked this in a video about a week ago, and I thought it was really interesting. There we go. Right there. Andrew Yang's polling average in the state of Iowa is 1%. Half a point lower than he polls nationally. And actually, it's going to be a little bit more than half a point after this 2% from Monmouth. He's probably close to 1.6, 1.7. So over half a point lower, which when we're talking about 1 point, that's a big deal. He is polling lower in the state of Iowa than he is nationally. So don't know the exact reasons for it. Maybe some of these candidates have a little bit more of a Midwest connection, so they're just getting more love from that angle. I'm not sure. But, dude, I mean, guys, it is worth noting that, like, seriously, Andrew Yang had been polling very poorly in the state of Iowa. This is his first 2% in the state of Iowa this cycle. I mean, he only polled above 0%, but 4 times like half the time, like 4 to 8. Literally, up until this point, he had been polling at 0.5%. 0.5% in the state of Iowa. Well, now he's polling at a full percent after that 2%, and he is going to be on the debate stage the next 2 months, guys. So that's very cool. Anyways, guys, we're actually going to be uploading another video today. I just wanted to break in and break this news. Again, for anyone wondering, there's no Cardin here today. He is on vacation. Just me today. I just jumped in because this is really big news, and I wanted to make sure we got this out there so people knew. Because I know a lot of people were concerned originally, like, wait, I thought he qualified. What happened? Now he didn't qualify. Is he going to be at the debates? Is he not going to be at the debates? How does he qualify? All that's done, guys. As far as we know right now, unless something else crazy happens, which I'm not anticipating, Andrew Yang has now hit 2% in 5 qualifying polls, 4 of which are going to count. And due to the rule change, that means he'll be debating in September and in October. So that's very cool. Shout outs to all the work. Hey, you know what? All you guys phone bacon, think about it. If you got a hold of 5 people in Iowa and convince one to change their vote, man, that might have been like 40% of the movement it took to get him in. I'll post on Twitter. I'll do some more math and tell you guys exactly how many voters we're talking about. But I'm serious. You guys who are phone banking, you guys who are just oh my God, I forgot the gentleman's name. There's a guy I believe is running ads, I think, in Iowa and New Hampshire. I mean, you literally 9 or 10 people who saw that stuff and said, you know what, I like the Andrew Yang guy. And next time they get polled, they say, I'm going to think I'm going to vote for Andrew Yang. That's the difference between being on the debate stage for the next 2 months and being on the outside looking in. So kind of a fun way of highlighting, dude, like how impactful in these early states it is. Because to be frank, yeah, you convince 6 people in California to vote for Andrew Yang. It's not going to have much of an impact. Not going to move the needle very much. But early states where polls count, and especially where they're doing polls with sample sizes of about 670 people, if you get a hold of that 670, 4 or 5 of them, change their minds, man, that's it. So that's my big takeaway, guys, is we're talking about single-digit people that move needles from being on the debate stage for 2 months and not being on the debate stage potentially at all. So, like I said, all you guys out there phone banking, man, pat yourself on the back. If you personally spoke with one person to change their mind, man, odds are you made a difference in this. So that's all we're going to say. Again, please, guys, please share, like, and subscribe. Honestly, it really helps the channel a lot. It just shows Google you guys like us. I see you in the comments. I hope you guys like us, but it shows Google you guys like us as well. So aside from that, like I said, I'll be uploading another video later today, guys, so keep an eye out for that. Ironically enough, we're also be going through kind of the polls and the money and seeing how the money seems to move the polls slower. But I think it's actually a good way to highlight that. I mean, Andrew Yang, the last poll they had done in Iowa on this Monmouth poll, I believe dated back to April, right? So sometimes it takes from April to August to move up 1% even. So there we go, guys. But again, please like, share, and subscribe. I hope you all have a great day and keep your eyes out for another upload in the next couple hours or so. And that's all for now, guys.
All right, guys. I'm about to get on the plane, traveling to Salt Lake City. I heard the good news about Andrew Yang's 4th qualifying poll. This is awesome. Problem Solver Politics, what? Google Andrew Yang!